Welcome everybody, Red Arrow 23 here, time for another addition to the Boom Beach Playbook. Today we're going to be adding in the complex with hero flare. This might not be the only hero flare that we have in the playbook, but let's boom this beach. So Wooly's going to be showing us how it is done on complex today, and we're just going to watch all the way through. A couple of arts, and then he's going to have a pretty sick landing. Nice. And we're just going to speed it up so we can go all the way through. See where that flare is there. We're going to talk about that in a little while. And boom, flare up. And we can get it popping. And then we're just going to be throwing off some flares, throwing off some shocks. He probably wasn't sure what level that mine was. And boom! Down goes the core with the unnecessary medkit on the troops. I don't know if he knows about the Angry family, but that's not how we do things. We have had chats. We've had a bit of remedial action. It's fine. Don't worry about it. So let's have another look. See what Wooly can show us today. So first things first, we want to be clearing any mines that we're going to have issue with. I like to clear just these six mines here. You can clear 9 if you get the flare, if you get the art absolutely perfect. In this case, he nearly got it. He missed one mine. It is a level 20, so make sure that you scout out. Sometimes they might be a level 22. Know how much health your Zukas have. If you have maxed out Zukas with no troop health, you can take a 21, but you can't take a 22. He has tagged this boom cannon, and that's really going to help out on the spread up when you get close to the core, because all the Zukas are going to spread. They're going to sort of like make a semicircle around, facing the boom cannon, and that's going to keep them sort of above these two boom cannons, which is going to be ideal for like this shock launcher and this rocket launcher over here. And then when we flare onto the core, that's when they'll sort of spread a little bit more in a vertical line. It definitely helps the hit out a lot, believe me. Right, so then next he's got this landing. There's a few different options. The beach is hot probably about 90% of the time. It's a lot anyway. So when you are doing this landing, I suggest doing a 2-smoke flag landing. You can do a flare landing if you really want to. If the beach is free, like there's no rocket launcher covering the beach, then yep, flare landing is probably perfect. Just remember, just have a look around, see what you think makes the most sense. But 2-smoke flag landing probably works the best. You just got to get the smoke positioning perfect. So you can see he's got that one smoke right there just below the waterline, and the height on the beach is really important, but also left and right, obviously, because we're trying to cover them all. So he's actually planning on using the delay in these rocket launchers by sending that first smoke, dropping all of his boats about 3/4 of the way up the beach or halfway up, depending on how you look at it. And then see how he's already tapped that little circle there. That's the tap for his next smoke. So the rocket launchers have turned, but they haven't fired yet. Brick is obviously going to pop out the end 90% of the time. And our 2 smokes are just going to be covering the 8 Zuka boats. So that's that, and look at that, is absolutely perfect. You definitely want that right smoke to be low enough that all of your Zukas, when they walk across, are going to go under it. The reason that he wants that right smoke to be slightly later than the left smoke is because they're going to be leaving that one last, so he doesn't want that smoke to expire. You can do 2 smokes, like smoke, and then land all your boats. You're just going to have less time to scroll up and send your next flare. Definitely want that flag no higher than 3/4 of the way up the beach. If you go all the way up to the top, what will happen is the Zukas will walk. So the bazookas and Brick from the left boat will walk straight up, and they're going to get in this like little crevice here, this little butt crack. So they're going to walk straight through there and just peak like crazy for that rocket launcher just to pick off. yeah, so once they're just sort of arriving, you want to be throwing out your next smoke, making sure it's going to be covering them, and then you're looking at this flare, and this flare is the hero flare that we're talking about. So we used to be able to just flare directly up to the spot, right up top, but if we do that, the brick is gonna get way ahead of our Zukas, so we need to keep her under control. And the way that we do that is do a mid flare, let the Zukas catch up to brick, and then we'll send the next one. So we're using these two boom cannons as a reference, chucking that flare ideally in the center tile of the gap between the two boom cannons. You can do it just in front of the boom cannon. I prefer just in between them. You could potentially do it just behind exactly the same, but behind the second boom cannon from the beach up, and that would work out fine too. You just got to have a look and see what you think is going to work the best. I reckon this one is perfect. So the Zukas are getting on up there, smoking absolutely perfectly, worrying about these machine guns for real, but we're not going to be hitting any of these mines, which is perfect. You can see that brick's going to arrive. You definitely won't want to be throwing this smoke too early, because it's sort of like it's where brick is furthest from the Zukas. So there's maximum amount of time there. You only want to be smoking it just as brick's about to go into it. And then you're looking to basically, you want all the Zukas to be caught up with brick, but not enough time for either the smoke to expire or for the Zukas to stop, pause, assess. They'll target something and they'll start to spread like crazy. So you want to throw your next flare up. Boom. So you keep those Zukas moving. And that's pretty much true across any hit that we do in the playbook and across Boom Beach, really, at all. You want to keep those Zukas moving. It's just a general rule of thumb. So that next flare is going to be up. It's in the left cell of this boom cannon extended up towards the wall. Looks like that one might even be in the middle cell, but we'll see how that goes. And then we're just smoking on up. And you can see they're going to funnel through between the machine gun and cannons right there. And just carry on up. They're not going to be trimming all of these mines, because if you do flare too far right, then they are going to do that. I'm not sure if Willie knew that was a level 22 mine, a level 20 mine and not a level 22. You can see he flared over arguably slightly early. This one Zuka is right in between the boom cannons. I wouldn't worry too much about it. Definitely needed to flare on because of the smoke timer was about to run out. So he flared onto the core. If you are noticing that you're getting there, your Zukas haven't quite got there, and you're needing to do your shocks, don't be afraid to go shock, then flare. It's not ideal. You won't have as much time firing on the core, but sometimes it's better to have less time on the core than no time, because you flared too early and now all your Zukas are all of a sudden in range of this shock launcher or these flamethrowers. Obviously just do it right the first time. That would be great. Get up there, flare onto the core, and then throw out your shocks. This rocket launcher should be out of range. This shock launcher should be out of range because we've used that boom cannon tag. The timing is obviously critical on like everything, so if anything's slightly wrong, like this one, I think this one Zuka went low, or a couple of Zukas went low, so this rocket launcher fired at a couple of them, and unfortunately that shock launcher is going to splash a little bit, but that is fine. Get those two shocks out twice and that's going to work out well. He has gone for the machine gun as well, just because he likes to show off, I guess. And boom, down goes the core. We took the hell out of this one. I mean, there's not too much more we can cover. We might just go and watch the hit all the way through one more time, just in case I did miss anything. So remembering right at the beginning, we're going to be clearing out some mines, bang bang, and tagging that boom cannon. It's going to help out our spread. Get those smoke positions absolutely perfect. That's where I fall over. Well, anybody will fall over. Getting those smokes out and getting that next flare out nice and quick, because we don't want those smokes to expire. Same again, get that flare out, making sure that the Zukas have caught up to brick. You don't want brick getting too far ahead, because by the time you get right up to the back of this map, you can see brick's already up there, and by the time Zukas get there, it's already time to be flaring the core, getting your shocks out, and getting your medkits ready for the core, Willie, for the core. So great hit from Wooly. Manages to take this one down. It did have, what was that? 8, 16, 1.8 mil on it, just over 1.8 mil. Great hit from Wooly. Be sure to comment down below if you have any alternative hero flares. I'd love to come and record them, check them out. If you have any other ideas on how to take down Complex better or worse, glad to hear them. Give us a thumbs up if you like the video, thumbs down if you didn't, and subscribe for more Boom Beach.